All right. And I can get on the YouTube and check and make sure. I should have had this pulled up.
It's okay. I do it all the time.
No thanks. What's happening? Oh my gosh. I started following Taylor Swift on YouTube, and now all of these things
are everywhere.
All right, we are live.
Okay, good. I don't think anybody's watching, so
they'll come.
It's all good.
We go live, and they will come.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Birdie in the Books. This is technically the first book discussion in my Jane Austen series. We are discussing Noethanger Abbey. The reason I chose Noethanger Abbey, technically this was the first one or the last one that was published because it was published after she passed, but it was the first she wrote. It was, I think she wrote it around the age of 17, 18.
I think so. I think I read that in the beginning. I didn't even put my copy near me. Oh my god,
the pretty copy! You have such a pretty copy. Mine is so. This is like the original copy my mom bought me. It's so like beat up because I've had it since I was like 12. But I love my old copy. So unfortunately, Jen wasn't in the right brain space. So
I'm sorry. No, I tried so hard to want. I kept going, and I'm like, I gotta like this. I gotta like this for Alicia. And I got to a point where I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. And so
I know you liked Pride and Prejudice, or you liked Pride and Prejudice.
I did. I wonder though. I'll be honest with you. So I had to read it for book club probably 10 years ago at this point.
Hi, Liz.
Yeah, for our in real life book club, we did that. And I'm pretty sure when I read the book, I was like, this is a 3 at most. Like I'd heard enough about it. I've seen enough clips. I think I had seen the Keira Knightley movie.
2005.
Yeah, like way back in the day. So nothing recent. And I was honestly just trying to get through it. So I don't even think I really enjoyed it until I saw the BBC's miniseries version.
The BBC miniseries is perfection.
So then I was like, I actually like this one. But I haven't reread that one since.
You like the movie version of this. I really do. Because it's campy, it's fun, it's ridiculous, but it's fun.
And I think that's the thing is, it's just like it started out first, I had the wrong narrator because the first one that I had, I literally wanted to crawl through it, find a child, and just punch it in the face. Like I was very, very irritated. And then you, Alicia, had sent me that you were starting a different audiobook, which I went out and I
got it through Chirp. Thank goodness for Chirp.
Yeah. And I actually really liked this new narrator, but it's still like I wasn't following what was happening. And it's hard.
Fair.
Yeah, I was really trying, and I wanted to
completely fair.
Have a lot of friends who love classics, who love Jane Austen. And so I'm just like, okay, I gotta give it a go. But classics are not for Jen. They want you to think too much. And I'm at a point in my reading career where I'm just like, just tell me what I need to know, or let me come up with as many wild theories as I possibly can.
My theories when we're buddy reading, your theories when we're buddy reading something are my favorite thing ever.
I literally go for the craziest things. So like murder mysteries, I can do those. But yeah, there's too much to think about in some classics. So I struggle. But when I watch the show or like a movie of it, I don't know. There's something about maybe the performance aspect of it.
Because it's just like they don't have to explain as much because it's all visually there. Maybe.
Yes. And I think taking some of that out helps because when they're trying to explain stuff, I was just like, where are we? At one point she was talking about a hat and I go, what is up with the hat? Why do I need to know about this hat? It's in a window. Like, are you going to buy it? And then nothing happened with this hat. And I'm like, why did you even talk about the hat in the first place? So there were a lot of things that I wasn't picking up, or maybe I was trying to read too much into, or I was trying to make it fit. And it could have been my headspace at the time.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Fair. Maybe if we do these, I'll just do you tell me the movie version that I need to watch, and I'll come out and be like, okay, you tell me about the book. I'll tell you what I thought about the movie.
We can do that after you get back from vacation. We can do that.
Yeah. So,
but I want to, when we do Persuasion, there is a specific one because none of the Persuasion ones are. There's one that isn't trash. The rest are garbage.
Okay. You just tell me which one I gotta read or which one I gotta watch, and we'll go from there. Yeah, at the hat. I was.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
But I also like this because it's so ridiculous. Like, this is like so not what she normally writes, because to me this reminds me of like Jane the Virgin, the telenovela part of Jane the Virgin.
Oh, see,
because it's very over dramatic. It's very like they're 17 years old. They think they're in this like gothic romance novel, and that's not what's happening. Like, spoilers, this book has been out since 1811, so I can't really spoil.
What? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Go.
I know. So, like, she fell in love with this book called The Mysteries of Udolpho, which is actually a book. I'm going to read it next because I'm curious, because I've never read it, by Anne Radcliffe.
Yeah.
And it's very like, oh my God, the guy has to save her. It's very like, like, it's ridiculous, but it's great. But she's also like 17. So like, that's a normal reaction of a teenager. Like, everything's dramatic. The person you meet for one day is your best friend. Spoiler alert, Isabella's trash.
Good to know, because I think she was one of the ones where I was like, I don't like you.
I'll spoil for you all you want.
Yeah, spoil away.
Okay, so she meets Miss Moreland here, which is the funniest thing to me is, I think it's the first or second line. Hold on. Where it literally says she's not that, like, basically in regular English, she's not that pretty. And I'm just like, damn. Like, I forgot how, like,
Catherine is cutthroat. Catherine was her name, right? I didn't make that up.
Catherine, and then they called her Kathy. So Kathleen.
I'll take it.
And then, but I like this one part. I think it's page 8 in my copy. The mom is very progressive for the time period. Miss Moreland, who did not insist her daughters being accomplished, in spite, like, women are supposed to be like good at piano, artists, all that stuff. She didn't want her daughter, like, if you want to do it, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine. That's very progressive for the time period, because they're just expected to, like, get married and have babies. And it's just like, the first line is like, her looks did not become her. And I'm like, damn, Jane Austen, Jesus. Like,
don't forget your needlepoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Needlepoint. Yeah. All the things.
Needle pointing, playing the gig, like in the gig and all that other stuff. So she goes to Bath, which is basically like a seaside town. So if you go to the beach, pretty much. And sorry, I've been losing my voice all day, so I might be in and out. So she goes with her family acquaintances called the Allens. They're hysterical. But she ends up going to this ball in Bath. And then she accidentally meets Henry Tilney, which, spoiler alert, I think he's my favorite, like, love interest, because he reads novels. Like, the first conversation was about muslin, which is basically a wool type fabric for dresses.
Oh, okay.
And not many men back then, because that's considered women's stuff, like, talked about it. So I think that's partially why she liked it. And then they would run into each other.
Yep.
Constantly. And then she met the Thorpes through her brother, Isabella Thorpe, and I think it's John Thorpe.
I don't think I liked him either. I think I wanted to punch him in the face a couple times.
So he's very, like, so she immediately, as she says in the book, I feel like I've known you since my whole entire life, and they immediately are calling each other best friend and all that dramatic teenager BS.
Yeah.
Because like,
Call it what it is. Bullshit.
Like, even though I'm rolling my eyes as an adult, I would have done the same thing when I was like 16. Like we all did it.
We did.
We all did it, unfortunately, even though we don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
And then and this is gonna have spoilers, but this book has been out for over 200 years, so I'm gonna spoil it.
Go for it. If anyone gets upset, then we can send them in a time machine back to the 1800s.
Here. Okay. Woohoo. Okay. And so she meets him going to balls when she's traveling with her family's friends, the Allens. And then she meets the Thorpes, who are garbage. She meets Isabella, who like pretends to be her friend, and then John, the brother, who has a crush on Catherine.
Yep.
And he's just one of those like braggadocious douchey.
Yeah, no, he was.
It's just like there's no other way to put it. It's just like
grated my nerves.
He was like, I beat everybody in poker when he lost all his money. He's I'm the best guy out there, yada yada yada. And then because of his braggadocious I thought I was on the wrong comment.
Is the last one. Oh, I think Bath is one of the places I'm going to on my cruise.
I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited. So in the fact he was in like a different room with all the men who were playing poker, I believe. This John Thorpe.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts talking to the Tilney's father, the General Tilney, and basically makes it sound like Catherine has more money than she does. Okay. She's not from a poor family, but she's on the poorer side. So because of that misinformation, secretly the general starts like buttering her up because he wants her to marry his son, thinking she has money. And that's where all this comes from. But I'm gonna circle back. So she ends up going to Bath with the Allens, and she has a great time. She meets up with the Tilneys again, and the Tilneys, there was a sister. I can't remember her name to save my life.
Oh my gosh, what was the sister's name?
Oh my goodness, I'm awful. I'm an awful booktuber.
I'm gonna try and Google it.
Is it? It's something close to Catherine. That's why I think it was throwing me off.
Hey, characters in Noethanger Abbey.
There we go.
Catherine Morland, James Morland. Okay, they gave me 5 characters. I know that there's more than that.
Okay.
Hold tight.
James is her brother, the one that introduces her to the Thorpe.
Character list. I don't want Spark Notes. Character list. Eleanor Tilney?
Yes, that's it.
Eleanor.
Yeah. And she becomes friends with Isabella because they love reading novels. And here's the comment. So they start talking about the actual book Mysteries of Udolpho, and she lists off all these other books, and I Googled because I was curious. All these books were actually books that came out in the time period.
Were they really? That's cool.
Uh-huh. And I was like, that's really cool. And I kind of want to do a deep dive and just like check them out.
Do it. I'd be curious. Yeah, read them. I wonder if that's like her way of saying these were the books of the time that I thought
inspired me.
The best. Yeah.
Where I'm trying to get to the right tab.
Yeah, because I recognize the one that you said that you were going to read, but also the others I think sounded familiar, but I had never ever looked into.
Yeah, I've never read any of the others. I have Mysteries of Udolpho. I haven't read that yet. I'm planning on it. What was it?
I don't mean to keep yawning, but I had a cold brew, and sometimes I feel
Oh,
like
no, you're
as
fine.
soon as I stop drinking that, my energy level like dips,
Yeah,
even though I'll never fall asleep.
exactly. I have the same problem. I completely understand. So I love on page 20, I think it might have been 20 on your copy too. They have this like conversation, her and Henry Tilney, saying that like we should have a proper conversation because we're talking about things we shouldn't be talking about properly. And she goes, and he says, how's the weather and all this other stuff. And it just made me giggle to make it look like they were having a proper conversation when they were just talking about books.
Books, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, he's like the perfect man. He talks about books and dressmaking. And the next page, where is it?
Because, yeah, I got up to about 45%.
Yeah, so you got to the juicy part.
The juicy part? Was it getting juicy? I didn't even know. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yes.
Like, everything that you're saying, I'm like, it sounds familiar. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, those parts made.
That's another one that's on my list, The Romance of the Forest. And they just like, because of the Gothic writing of the time period, like everything's so dramatic and everything's like, it's ridiculous. It's very like telenovela soap opera. And then she starts like being friends with Isabella, which means brother John's always around. So getting to the part that you ended up stopping at, Eleanor invites her to like, I forget if it was have tea with them or have lunch with them.
I think they were getting ready for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And and so because it's raining, they're running late. So she's waiting by the window. And then the Thorpes show up and they're like, oh yeah, we saw them go this way, which is completely the opposite way from picking her up. So
yeah.
He made it look like they just like pieced out on her, basically. So she under false pretenses, she doesn't want to go because she's like, well, it is bad weather. I might just wait. But he's just the braggadocious ass that he is. Yeah. And he convinces her because he's friends with her brother, and her brother convinces her to go with him. And she gets in the carriage.
Yep.
And sees them walking by as she's driving away.
I remember that. Yep.
To them, it looks like she's just like piecing out on them. And then she's trying to get him to stop, and he continues to like go.
Yeah, he was a dick. I remember.
I think he like it's not explicitly said, but I think he realized that like Henry liked her and he didn't like that.
Yeah. And I think he realized that she liked him too.
Yeah.
So that was definitely he wanted the girl and he was willing to fight dirty to get her.
Yeah, be disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just interesting how dramatic it is. And it's like, and then she jumps, like, I forget if she jumps out or like, and then he comes back and says like, oh, I already told them they agree to meet on a second day because of the misunderstanding.
Yes.
And then
I remember that.
Yep. And then the John Thorpe, as you can tell, I don't like him. He's disgusting. Says that he goes to them and says, well, we had an engagement and all this other stuff. And then Isabella's like telling her she's got to come because I want her to. Like, it's a very codependent friendship and it's very toxic.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I kept my word. I'm going to keep my word since you guys messed me up the first time.
Yeah.
Basically. I'm putting it in more understandable English.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I'm like, it makes me feel a lot better. I'm like, I actually understood way more than I thought I did.
And she's just like, and the brother's even like, come on, stop being a stick in the mud, basically. And she's like, no, I promised Eleanor that I'm going to meet her for tea or lunch or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then
Eleanor,
she ends up, because the brother like takes her, and she ends up running away to their house to like be like, no, I wanted to come. And then she's like not worried because Thorpe actually did say that they had a prior engagement, blah, blah, blah. But because of this, the general, that their father, likes her. So he invites her to go to Noethanger Abbey, which is their house or their estate, whatever you want to call it. And she, like, because it's like a castle, so she's like playing like the damsel in distress and all that other stuff. It's kind of it's a lot.
Yeah, that might have been where it left off because I don't quite remember them making it to Northanger Abbey.
Yeah, I think they were when you stopped. I think they were headed that way.
I think so. Yeah, because I think she was talking with Henry, and she was trying to explain herself, and I was just like, "Don't explain yourself. You did you." And then I was like, "Wait a minute, no." Now you're going back and like, "Oh man, she did need to explain herself because he probably
But that's what I liked about her. She didn't let like the men tell her what to do and what not to do. I was like, "You go." And then she like decides to go with them. I believe like a fortnight, which is 2 weeks.
Yes.
And so she ends up going to Northanger Abbey, and she has this like, because she has such a vivid imagination, and they're connecting it to the fact that she loves to read for her vivid imagination. She just thinks like she's the damsel in distress. It's a castle. Something horrible happened at the castle, and like you find out as they're walking and talking, she's talking to Eleanor, that the mom unexpectedly passed away, her mother.
Murder mystery.
Yes. Yep. And she goes, well, you're like in her head. She goes, well, your father doesn't seem like a nice man, so maybe he killed him. Like in her head.
Oh my gosh.
He's very like extra. And then it like, and then she's sleeping in the room that they gave her like as her room for when she's staying there. And there's a big, like, I forget if it's wooden or something, a big chest. And she's like, maybe there's something in there. And she opens it up and there's nothing in it. And the only thing that's in it is like worn papers. So she's like, maybe it's some information about what happened to the mother the last day. She was very like ridiculous. And then it turns out to be like old like basically a laundromat receipt from back then. That's basically what it was. And she like, it's just very dramatic. And then like while she's at Northanger Abbey, she gets a letter from her brother who's in, I believe, either the army or he's away at school. Because like all it says is he sent her a letter from Oxford. So I don't remember if he's in school or in the army. So he sends her a letter. Oh, I've attached myself to Isabella Thorpe. So they're like engaged. Yeah. Her brother and her best friend. At first she's excited. Yeah, like everything's great. Like my best friend and my brother are gonna get married. Yay. Yeah. True. Right. Yeah. And then like she's still staying at the at Northanger Abbey. Everything's fine. She notices that like the father's very abrupt, like he's not very kind to his kids. But he's nice to her at first. Okay. And then as she gets to know Henry, she finds out like the mom died unexpectedly, and that Henry got to see his mother before she died, but like I forget, Eleanor was out of town and didn't get to say goodbye to her mother. And then she gets a letter from her brother about the engagement, and then she gets a letter from Isabella about the engagement, how much she loves the brother, all this other stuff. And at this point, you're probably like rolling your eyes, like, oh, great. And
she probably just wanted to be your friend so you get into her brother's pants. I'm just saying.
Basically. And then it's the brother, her brother, the Thorpe, was like, maybe we can follow in their footsteps, like trying to like propose to her. And she's just like,
sure not. Nope.
Like she's being nice to him, but she's like, no. and then like A couple more weeks go by. And she doesn't hear anything from anybody. She doesn't hear anything from Isabella, doesn't hear anything from her brother, thinks everything's fine. Gets a letter from her brother saying that he found something out about Isabella.
What is it?
And so
just the tea.
The plot thickens because the person that she was flirting with was Henry's brother.
Oh, no.
Who's a known like rake per se. Like he's just a known love him and leave him type.
Yep.
So like of course she's hemming and hawing on telling Henry because this letter from her brother makes his brother not look good. Like she's like, do I show him? Do I not? But like she was so upset because she found out that basically the only reason that she decided to like flirt with the brother was she found out that they're not as rich as her brother John made out to be, like John Thorpe, because he's very grandiose and all this other stuff. So then in the same letter, John Thorpe is an ass because he basically want to make himself look good because he says to the General Tilney when they first meet, I'm going to marry Catherine. She has a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. So he's thinking like, I'll get my son in who's better.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. Regardless of the fact that they're secretly falling in love. And then John sends a letter basically telling the general that she's not as rich. So the general like kicks her out at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, rude.
Yes. Awful. But she doesn't know, like at this point, she doesn't know why she was kicked out. She was just kicked out because he didn't want her there anymore. At this point, that's all she knows. And then she finds out later about the letter because Henry reaches out to her about everything. And because literally this happened while he wasn't in the house. Like her getting kicked out and all that other stuff happened when he wasn't in the house. So he didn't know any of this. Like he was away for business or something. And so she gets kicked out, has to travel by herself at like 17.
That's
like,
doesn't that make her compromised at this point?
Thank you. Thank you. Like even now, I'm like, and this was 1800s. Like now, I wouldn't let anybody be by themselves at that age.
No. No.
But then he like follows. He goes to her. She ends up going back home. Doesn't get to tell the parents because it happened so quickly. But her parents were just happy to see her because they haven't seen her in like 6 weeks at this point. And so like 2 days later, Henry shows up at her parents' house. And like explains to her like John Thorpe lied, and that's why my father thought you would become my wife because we would get money from you from your dowry, yada yada yada. And then, but he's like, I don't care what my father says. I love you anyway, basically.
Oh.
And then, like, they don't really talk about the brother that much, but like, basically, she says to him, like, I mean, no disrespect to you, but I want nothing to do with your brother because it hurt my brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said fair, and basically, and then like she tells him the like thought that she had in her brain of like the father killing the mother because the mother died. And he's just like, this is ridiculous. Like you're reading too many books. Like it's just so like bonkers and out of there and not normal for her writing that I love it so much. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Nice.
And I did it in less than half an hour. I'm shocked. So I kind of love it because it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like, but we were all ridiculous at that age.
Oh my gosh. I can remember my younger years. Ridiculousness is real.
You know what's so funny? As an adult, you look at some of the people you would have done dumb shit for, and you're like, I'm glad it didn't go that way.
Yep.
Did I miss anything important, Liz? Because I feel like I missed some important plot points. But I tried to get as much as I could.
She did answer your question about was he at school at Oxford or in the war? It was school. And then my copy, and I actually read this earlier part because I was kind of interested to learn more about Jane Austen. Yeah. I don't think she came from money.
No,
but
she didn't.
It was, the book at least said that all of her characters, it's one of the things that she did where she made sure that they were on the right side of money, that nobody was actively poor. And I think it might be because of how she grew up, that she just would rather read about people in
better situations.
Yeah.
And actually being able to marry the person that they're in love with regardless of money.
Yeah.
Because she said yes to someone and then turned them down the next day because she was 27 and by alone. And I'm actually in the process of reading this. It's a biography done by Claire Tomlin.
Okay. I think that might be who did the
introduction.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I did start to skim that after a while too. So I was just like, come on, you're using too many words. But let me just tell you,
so dramatic.
The font in the book was super small, and at one point, the whole paragraph was the page. I was like, all right, Jane Austen, you need to break this up, girlfriend. This is a solid chunk of text.
I was surprised when I saw how long your version was, because my version's exactly double that.
That's insane.
But it's the same text. What? It's literally the same text. So I checked the physical text. It's the same one. It's so weird, but it's just I don't know. I just find him as a love interest more fascinating because she gives him more than just the fact that he has money. It's known that he has money, but it's not they talk about books and he does this whole, when they first meet, he does this whole diatribe about because she goes, oh, you wouldn't know anything about the books that I like to read because you're a man. And the quote is, you have to read more important things. And he says, novels are just as important as biographies and history works and stuff like that. And even though I love most of the love interests in her books, he is the most of today. Mm-hmm. I feel like the majority of her male leads. Okay. Which copy do you have? Because there's so many copies out there. There's so many different there's so many different copies of there's just different covers, there's different introductions, all that stuff. But as you can see, I'm a classics nerd.
I'm happy.
I was a weird child. I was a weird child. Again, this is just a question. You got me the remix version, the retelling for my birthday.
Uh-huh.
Would you want to do read the retelling with me of Pride and Prejudice?
I could try it. I remember.
If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. I'm chill.
It depends on which one you do. I think you. I'm trying to remember.
Most Ardently was the one you got me.
I would give it a shot. Don't be surprised if I do that. No. But
I'm just thinking because it's a more modern retelling, that it might go over better.
Might help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe read the first 20 pages. Tell me if it's more modern writing, and then be
I know. In this remix, it's the character is still named Elizabeth.
Uh-huh.
But they're transgender characters.
Oh.
They're really I forget I think it's Edward in the book. So it's a transgender retelling of Pride and Prejudice, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I liked the cover. I thought the cover was really pretty.
The cover's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But you picked up a lot more than you thought.
I I did. I picked up way more as you're explaining it. I was like, okay, maybe I was picking up on all the right things. It's just I felt very lost. So
Maybe it's just the terminology used.
it's very possible.
So we are going to continue this, but we're going to wait till after August.
It would be in August at least. I mean, if you want to do a few without me, by all means, go ahead, because I can't guarantee that I will not DNF more of them.
No, you're fine. As long as you don't mind like being part of the conversation, I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, this isn't like I didn't go as much as I can go into it. Like I can go deep into it.
I mean, go for it. You do
you. My graduating paper was my capstone paper was Jane Austen and how her humor still stands today, because like the main thing I put in there was it keeps on getting remade. Like Clueless is a remake of Emma. Like Bridget Jones' Diary is a remake of Pride and Prejudice. Like there's people think it's so just old language when the tropes per se are still being used today, like the Grump Sunshine, the second chance romance, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me how like everybody thinks everything's so different when you like whittle it down to like bare bones. It's not really different. It's just different. Yeah. It's just dressed up in a different format. Basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, this went a little bit faster than I thought. I thought this would be more.
It helps if your co-host hasn't read it and doesn't have many opinions. My bad.
That's fine. But thank you for everybody watching the replay. And I'm sorry for all the spoilers, but this book has been out since 1800, so
that's your
sorry. Yes, but I will send you the movie version, and maybe we can like watch it offline together at some point, and then we can talk about it more. And then I know I will be taking part in Jane Austen July. I'm just not sure. I'm going to be working on some thumbnails with Jen to try to figure out what I'm going to do. In July. And the next thing that we will be discussing on this channel will be this chunker.
I think I'm about 50.
You're further than me for sure.
I'm 45 to 50% through this one. It's getting good.
Okay, good. I'm really enjoying it. Like it's just I have to read when I'm taking notes and annotating. I read so much slower. But this is March 4th, May 4th. My goodness.
I was like, March? What? May 4th.
Yeah. So May the 4th be with you. That wasn't on purpose. We'll be discussing with P.L. Stewart and my friend Epic, as well as Jen, Lord and King, which is book 3. And then I believe we'll be discussing book 4 in like September-ish. And then we'll be caught up. And then we'll have to wait till 2025.
I think P.L.'s in the comments.
Oh, speaking of P.L. Hi.
So I haven't gotten to okay. I was gonna say you said that there was a lot of romance in this next one. And I was just like, I'm seeing some things. I don't want to say anything to spoil Alicia.
Hi,
but oh my gosh, that one thing happened, and I was like, oh, what? So
I was the first like 4 chapters that I read, I was messaging PL. I'm like, what is happening, sir?
No, you have to get to I think it's like 19 or 20 chapters.
Yeah, this is going to be my weekend read for sure. I will be finishing this up. I'm excited though. And then we'll get to book. I'm hoping if it works for you, PL, in September for book 4.
And then we'll hit you up next year for book 5. Because I think
you
said book a year. I remember this.
I know. I'm very proud of myself because we'll be caught up on a series.
Yeah.
You know how we've been trying to catch up.
It's always exciting when you get caught up.
I know.
But then it's also sad too because you're just like,
then you have to wait.
Yes.
I can't wait. I can't believe it's almost May.
I know.
Like, what
Honestly,
happened
I
to
was
April?
hanging out with someone and I was like, yeah, your kid's only 4 months old. And she goes, no, he's 6. And I was like, but he was born in October. And she goes, yeah, it's April. And I go, oh, damn, you're right.
Are you kidding? Like, I just got a notice from my doctor. You haven't been here in a year. I'm like,
What?
really?
I was here yesterday.
Yeah, like I feel like I was just okay.
Oh,
I
man.
forget, like Greg goes to the same doctor I do, so I'm like, I go to appointments with him, and I'm like, but I was just there, but not for me.
Damn.
But I'm so excited. That'll be the next live discussion on my channel. That will be 8 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But thank you for everybody watching now, PL and Liz, and the shadow people, because I see 4 people are watching. But thank you for watching the current, and thank you for everybody watching on the replay, and thank you to my co-host. I'm pointing in the wrong direction.
Sorry, I didn't finish it.
You're fine.
It's just classics aren't me. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm so excited. Yay!
Hey, you're not going to upset me.
Yay!
I will not be upset by this.
No, not at all. I'm so excited.
Yes.
But thank you for everybody watching on the replay and currently.
Don't
If
forget
you
to
have
hit
any
like.
questions, or if you want me to discuss any other classics, put it in the comments down below, and I will have more content coming. I'll be doing a book haul for my vacation, so that'll be the next thing up.
That'll be 4 hours long with this. You talked about a football stadium bookstore. If you don't have like an hour long,
It's insane. Like, I literally brought my wheelchair because I couldn't walk the thing. I was like, this is insane.
Oh,
but
man.
Thank you for everybody watching. Have a great rest of your evening.
Bye.
Bye.
It's always that double click.